The Catholic Church needs you to pray for the sanctification of its priests now more than ever. Tonight, we'll help you connect with people around the whole world who are preparing to do just that. So please stay with us. Thank you. Thank you very much and welcome. I'm Father Mitch Pacwa, and welcome to EWTN Live, our chance to bring you guests from all over the world. Before we get to our guests tonight, I want to mention that today is a feast that's not on the Universal Church calendar, but we're going to commemorate it because one of my radio listeners wanted us to, and it is the Feast of St. Joan of Arc. She was born in 1412 and was killed in 1431. She had heard a number of voices that told her to help the French people rise up and help drive the English out of France during the 100 Years' War. But she also was very careful to make sure that she motivated the French to reform their moral lives as well, so that they weren't just going to be going into battle, but they had to be soldiers who were moral and living out their faith. So she did that. Eventually, though, the English caught her and they executed her as a witch. The trial was found to be stacked against her and falsified, and later on she was canonized by Pope Benedict XV. All right, now let's get to our guests tonight. They are both working to unite people all over the world to pray the Rosary for the sanctification of priests. And they are here tonight to share about those efforts and the mission of their apostolate, World Priest. So please welcome Mrs. Berni Neal and Mr. James Diroff. Berni, welcome. James. Thank you both for being here. Now, where have you come from to get here?
I came from Orange County, California.
Okay, beautiful area out there. And where have you recently come from?
From Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. And you've been doing some other traveling around.
Yeah, just returned from a deployment from the Middle East.
In the Middle East, yeah. So when I say that we bring guests from all over the world, I mean, you've been deployed off in the Middle East and are back here. And thank you for your service. I appreciate that very much. This program of this rosary, it's a global rosary for priests. And you two are involved in this. First of all, tell us a little bit about what this global rosary is about.
It is truly an opportunity for the world to come together to pray the Rosary, to ask for the Blessed Mother's intercession for the protection of our priests, to pray for the sanctification of our priests. It's a way for we as lay to show that kind of love and support, uniting our prayers with everyone, and hopefully to show our priests that we love you and we understand that you are set apart, and we are very, very blessed to have you.
Thank you very much for that. One of the things, I don't know which one you want to talk about this, but how did this get going as a global movement? I mean, you know, it's not easy to get global things done, and you are well aware of that, being in the military. There's a whole global enterprise, and that's a lot of work and a lot of people. How is this working?
Well, originally, Marian Mulhall, which was the founder,
right,
when the Holy Father, John Paul II, asked that the day of Sacred Heart of Jesus, the solemnity, the feast day, that it become a world day of prayer that allows the lay to focus on prayer for our priests.
Okay.
Well, Marion then was inspired and said, it's a world day of prayer. He's called for the Universal Church to be a part of this. Why don't we ask for the Blessed Mother, who loves her priestly sons, to be a part of this with us, and let's, start with a global rosary relay. And the idea was to take that 24-hour period and bathe every minute with prayer. And the opportunity was to really share it and to represent the Universal Church.
Great. How did you get involved in this, James? I mean, you're flying around the Middle East.
Right. Yeah, actually, EWTN.
I know it's global, this process, but how did you hear about it?
Well, EWTN was really the whole part. I was here visiting the Franciscans, the friars here, and I was sitting right over there in the audience, and Marianne Mulhall was here, and Monsignor Curran was sitting in this chair, and they started explaining all about World Priest and what they were doing and the websites that we have, and how important it is to let our priests know that we love them and support them, and we understand the sacrifices that you guys make. And I was sitting in the audience, and I've just had such a deep love and appreciation and respect for the priesthood for years. And I was getting excited about it, and I asked her a question, and afterwards we started talking, and I was like, are you doing this? Are you guys doing this? And started getting pumped up about it. She's like, well, if you want us to do all this stuff, why don't you help me out? So we decided to start working together, and 2 years later, here we are, and now Berni and I are on the show.
Well, you weren't in that audience.
No.
How did you get involved in this?
So I was at home watching your show, and there was Marion. And the website flashed on the screen, and I thought, I love this. This is beautiful. I can help. I can do something in terms of praying for the sanctification, the holiness of our priests. And so a mutual friend said, I know Marion Mulhall, and I know what she's working on. I said, I need to talk to her. And with that, we became friends, and I was able to get involved. And thank you to EWTN, because both James and I are involved because of it.
And now that you've gotten involved in this movement because of watching the program that we did a few years ago with Marion and Monsignor, you've become involved in doing this. And that's amazing. Now, one of the things is, what do you want people to do?
Participate.
How so?
Come pray with us. I mean, we've united 60 Marian shrines from all over the world. I mean, we have locations in, Brazil and Germany, and we'll call it an undisclosed location in China for those people's protection. People all over the world, all over our country, here at 9 a.m. In Birmingham, right here at the chapel. They're going to go live also to talk about it and to pray. And what we want people to do is to go to our website, it's worldpriestday.com for the Rosary Relay. Check that out and find the location that's closest to them where maybe they can go, or a location that they would like to pray with. If you want to pray with the persecuted church in China, take a look at the time, and there are people in China praying. The whole point of this is to encircle the whole globe, and that 24-hour period, continuous prayer, all for our priests.
And it's going to be on the website to give the time and apparently most, not all, of the places where this is going on. Because again, one of the realities that many of us pray for are the persecuted Christians in various parts of the world. And so we protect them, but we know the time they're going to be praying.
Yes.
And we can join them at that time. That's all on the website.
It is. It is. It'll start in Los Angeles, and then it goes to China, and that it encircles the globe. Now, the beauty is that on June 15th, which this year it's June 15th, 2012, is also the day that the Eucharistic Congress will be taking place in Dublin.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And so the community there, all the attendants and participants at the Congress will stop and pray the Rosary at 2:15, I believe, in Dublin.
Okay.
With the Global Rosary Relay. They'll take their place in the rotation.
In the main arena there, 5,000 people all joining together just from that one location. And then it moves to another part of the world. It's just beautiful.
Will there be, because you're describing this as sort of a rosary relay. that, you know, something like a relay race, you pass on the rosary instead of the baton to get people praying in the next part. Will the different places be in contact with each other to let you know, here's the baton, because in a relay race, you hand it to somebody.
Right.
Will you be doing that kind of actual handing on, that they know when it's done and the other starts?
Well, we've pretty much the way we're ensuring that is by pre-coordination. That's what so much of the work that's been put into it is our pre-coordination with all of those shrines throughout the world. And we couldn't do it without the volunteers there. I mean, so many different languages that we've had to deal with and translating all of the material into and letting everyone go. So we're using GMT, or Zulu time, as we would call it in the military, Greenwich Mean Time, as the kind of go-to, the common, and then we've converted into the local time so that they're just going to go in order. So there isn't exactly a, hey, we're done, but we're going to finish hopefully on time in every spot, and then the next location will pick up.
But that is one of the beautiful things. This will be the 3rd year, and in only 3 years that we've already increased to 60 shrines. Participation is phenomenal. And one of the things that I encourage people to do is to, if you're praying, say with Spain, you can look up on the website their email address and say, I just prayed the Global Rosary Relay with you there in Spain. And how beautiful would that be for them to have the sense of, the world out there is praying with us, or did pray with us, and we could do that for all of the 60 shrines. And as James mentioned, I mean, we're going to be in Rwanda, in Kibeho, we'll be in Dubai, we will be in Lourdes as well.
A lot of people don't realize that there really is a fairly vibrant Catholic community in Dubai, mostly, you know, people from other countries who've come there, but they have enough freedom to go to church on Sunday, and you know, the kingdom protects them, so they continue to pray there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is very powerful. It's very moving when you're praying to know that there are people that will be praying. And to your point, it isn't to pass the baton, but you know that there's someone else out there that's going to carry this forward. It's very moving. If someone does want to get involved, on the website there are posters and flyers and all sorts of things in all different languages. So they can print it out and take it to their pastor if they would like to ask other members within the parish to participate. So all the advertising materials are there.
You know, it's kind of too bad that the Feast of the Sacred Heart occurs in June, because it's winter in Antarctica, so nobody's there. Otherwise, you could have a group down in Antarctica too. You know, get all 7 continents going.
Maybe we should think about an annual, you know, every day of the year rosary relay, and then we'll get it.
Then they can get it in their summertime in December. Yeah.
Well, there's an idea. We'll start.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's the one continent I haven't been to, so we'll have to get them praying anyway. You say that there are a lot of volunteers. Now, where are the volunteers located? Are they also international, or is there a center?
Yeah, we have a group of people. I mean, it started, World Priests started, I guess, with Marion and Neal and them in Ireland, and then we have the U.S. contingent, I guess you could call it, of World Priest volunteers. But then what we're really talking about is the people at the individual shrines. So there's a coordinator at each shrine that's there, that's doing kind of their own advertising for that, letting people know, organizing it, putting it together. So without those people that either watched the show and found out about it, or have gone to the website, or we've contacted through travels and mutual friends, there's no way we could put this on. I mean, we're talking, it would cost millions and millions of dollars to make all this coordination happen, but just by the grace of God that He wants, you know, He wants this. Our Lady wants this to happen for her priests, and she has just helped put the pieces together. It's so beautiful to see her hand working in this whole thing.
You know, this organization is really remarkable, what you're all part of. And this is a very important component to see. But I think, you know, to focus on your last point is a good thing for us to go to. That the idea is praying for priests. You know, that sometimes it seems as if people just expect us to be praying for ourselves and all, but it's very important to have the laity praying for us too. Do you do much reflection on that phenomenon in with the volunteers?
Yes, and as an example, the Holy Father last year, he wrote a prayer specifically for this apostolate. And on the website, there's a lot of different information. At 3 p.m. every day, we're encouraged and invited to stop and to pray for our priests. That prayer is available to us to also, pray at all times, not just for this day, that, that our priests really need this love and support, and that we storm the gates of heaven, on your behalf is an important part. And it's what we can do as lay. The other part of World Priest Day is worldpriest.com. And that's a website that we are trying to grow to be a resource for priests.
What kind of resources would be available for priests there?
Well, one of the things, there's a closed community that allows, you have to be invited by another priest to be a part of it, so that there are forums and discussions. There's spiritual materials. There's really an opportunity for them to, to share different things that are going on, exchange ideas. This is how technology can be an asset versus a weapon, if you will.
Right.
And for so many priests that are located like in Australia, where for a while most of our hits were in Australia, or the highest number of hits, and it was because in Australia their distances geographically are so big that it was difficult, but they were able to come to the website and find information and be connected to each other in ways that would be very difficult otherwise.
That's true in many parts of this country. A number of states are still mission states, like Alaska. Priests are very isolated, and oftentimes they cannot serve their parish without flying an airplane, because they have chapels scattered around. And Wyoming, parts of Colorado, and other states, very large geographic parishes, and so far the prairie dogs aren't Catholic yet, so we've got a lot of work to do. So there's, but it's difficult and and very isolated, and that's a very important element of this.
Yeah, you guys are called to go into so many different areas. Go out into the deep to minister to us, and there's so many different religious orders and other priests of the military archdiocese that are traveling all over the world, and they're at these tiny little fobs, we call them, little locations, and they're out there trying to minister, and there's not another. We were talking about this morning, about the priests are formed together, and sometimes 9 years in seminary, and they're living in community, and then they go to their diocese or their order, and then they spread them out, and they're like, all right, go get it, and it's like, well, where is that sense of community? Where can we talk to each other and run these different things by each other? And that's what we're really excited about the worldpriest.com website and the social network that we're going live with on there. It's a place for those priests to be able to talk to each other. It's secure. It's a safe environment for them to be like, hey, I'm dealing with this today. Like, anybody know anything about this? It's just like you have a forum for cars, or I'm a skydiver, a forum for skydiving, for whatever it may be. And that's where someone who has a lot of experience, maybe can minister to a younger priest he's never met, never heard of, nothing. He's like, but, I've encountered that particular problem before. Sure. So we want to provide a venue for those priests to talk to each other. There's also information on there, continuing formation, retreats information. It's in multiple languages. So whatever you need is going to be on there, and let us know. You see something on there that you want, let us know, and we can try to add that and build to it. So those are kind of the two websites that we have developed and put together, worldpriest.com and then worldpriestday.com.
Now, if a priest goes to this website, worldpriest.com, you say that he has to be invited. I don't understand exactly. I'm not always very good at these things. What do you mean he has to be invited?
Well, there's a side of it that's public.
Okay.
That anyone can look at those resources, which are really lovely. In fact, we're developing Catholic, the World Priest TV, so that it's actually short videos on spirituality and information. But the side that's closed and that's secure would be the side that would be the social network.
Okay.
And in order to be invited into this closed social network, you have to be invited in by another priest.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a public side that anybody can go to, and then there's one side of a forum where people can communicate with the priest can communicate.
Priests.
And and one of the things, I mean, I would understand the need for the security, because somebody could pose as a priest and try to do something, that's be nonsensical.
Correct.
So this would be a way to have priests inviting other priests, so that there's bona fides there for protection.
Yes.
And the other website is primarily for the laity.
Yes.
Primarily for the laity.
Yes.
And that is to get them involved in joining us in the prayer time.
Yes.
Right. There's information on that website also. Something that I was really excited about when I first heard about World Priest, sitting right over there, was that these guys, you guys, sacrifice so much in your life, and you do it joyfully for us. And people know how to come up to you after Mass and shake your hand and say, "Great homily, Father, thank you." Mm-hmm. But what else do you do? And, and on there are different...
Sit around eating bonbons.
Right, right. There's things on there that are going to give them ideas. There's ideas on how to support your priest, how to let them know that they're cared for and loved. And I think that's so important to let you guys know that you're there. We also talked about in the past day or so about marriage, and how in normal marriage you are to loving your spouse and taking care of your spouse, whereas a priest, you are basically taking the church, the community, as your spouse, and you are to love them in a passionate and just giving way. And as the church, the people, we are to love you back. Mm-hmm. And we need to do that, and people want to. They want to so bad. When I tell people that I work with this organization, and they get excited and their eyes light up and they're like, "I don't know what to do besides hug Father after Mass and tell him he did a good job," Yeah, and it's like, well, there's all kinds of things you can do. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest things is we can start praying, uniting with the whole world, praying for you guys.
Yeah. One of the things that I was able to participate in, I was a priest maybe 3 years back in 1979, was a retreat that was run by lay people from the marriage encounter movement. And they called it, there was also a priest on their team, but it was mostly run by the lay people. And they called it priest encounter. And they brought up, some of the same things you're saying, that we priests stand in the person of Christ. The Vatican Council repeats that, I think, 6 or 7 times, that the priest acts in persona Christi, in the person of Christ. And this means that if Christ is the bridegroom of the church, then we priests have to love the church as a groom loves his bride. And at a marriage, one of the great things is that the bride is much more the center of attention than the groom is. So we do need to keep the focus on the church. But that reciprocity is also important, where we get that sense of being prayed for. That's the kind of communion that we also like.
Yes.
Along with sending that email to the shrine and say, "Hey, I prayed with you guys from Tampa, Florida. I prayed with Spain," or wherever. You could shoot an email to your priest and say, look on the website, maybe the general ones, or no one's inboxes explode. But, hey, just want to let you know I prayed for you today.
Oh, that's great.
So a man can love his spouse in a way he comes home and could bring her flowers and be like, "Hey, I got you flowers just because it's Wednesday." And you see, your wife's eyes light up, or I can imagine, I don't know, single guy, but can imagine that. How about for a priest? You open your mailbox, your email box in the morning, and you've got 3-4 emails from random parishioners, whether they're kids or adults or people you've ministered to, or someone that you've never even met but just was in the back pew. "I prayed for you today, Father. I just want you to know that."
Yeah, no, that is a strong comfort. When I was ordained, a number of great gifts, came. Of course, people were very kind. But one of the gifts that I cherished, because it is so long lasting, was an enrollment for life with a Carmelite convent where they were going to pray for me until I died. Maybe a few after that wouldn't be a bad idea either. But it's, that kind of prayer support is important for us priests to get.
Well, our patroness is Saint Therese of Lisieux,
There you go.
who came to the Carmel because of her, wanting to pray for our priests and for the
Right.
protection of our priests. So she is our patroness, so not surprising, and I'm so glad to hear that they're praying for you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's I think your last point, James, about having this being made known to your local priests is a good thing, because this global thing is absolutely marvelous. But then getting it to the local priest, let him know that would be a good thing.
Yes. There's actually a place on the website that you can post stories, and say something special about your priest. And then if you want to shoot it to him as well and really show him that now it's gone global and how much you appreciate him, it's available there. But that is on the website. It's available.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. That's be nice.
And there's also e-cards on there too. That you
What
can
are
go to.
e-cards?
So it's an electronic card. So you can select, there's a good variety of them. You can pick one, and then it's maybe a little image of a saint or of a priest at consecration or something like that. And you can write a little thing in there, just like we talked about before, where I prayed for you today, Father, and you put his email address in there. You can put your name or not, and it'll send it to him. So if you're wondering, I don't know what to say, I just want this guy to know I appreciate it, it's already there. There's ideas for you. So there's ways that we can help you out there too.
Yeah, see, that would be very important. And I one idea too, almost every parish in this country and in countries around the world, the parishes usually have a website. That's so common.
Yeah.
That might be another way for people to make contact with their priest and parish to get them involved, and send an email to your parish website to let people know that this day is going on, and invite the parish to do this.
You could put a banner on the site. Like on the top, we have those electronic banners. So when you go to the website, a lot of times you'll see them where they're advertising to sell something or something like that, which you probably won't have on your parish site.
No.
But you could have something that scrolls across the top that we could design or that we already have. And it's just a link. You click on it, like what's a Rosary relay? Click on it and it goes right to the website. Also, we can put on the parish sites.
There you go. There you go. See, I wouldn't know the technology of that, but it sounds like a very good idea. I just want to give people a little bit of information about this. Again, it's the 3rd annual Global Rosary Relay for Priests. You can join in praying 60 rosaries in 60 countries on June 15th, 2012. The website is www.worldpriest.com. Worldpriest.com. So this is a place that you can go and let people know that you're joining in and joining with these other these 60 places. Now, we're going to take a break. Want to come back in a couple of minutes and get some of your questions and your comments, as well as those of our studio audience. So please stay with us. Thank you. Thank you and welcome back. We have a nice group of folks here in our studio audience from all parts of the United States. And we'd love to have you come and join us too. You can come as these folks have, as individuals and small families, or you can come with a parish group or diocesan group. Either way, please contact our pilgrimage department and they will give you all kinds of information. Their phone number is 205-271-2966. 205-271-2966. Or you can also go to our website, www.ewtn.com, and they'll give you information about places you can stay, scheduling for programs, masses, directions up to Hansford to go see the sisters and pray with them. You don't get to see them a whole lot because they're praying all the time, but you get a chance to go join them at Mass and their prayers. And they'll give you information about tours of the network, all of that. And they're glad to do it. So please get in contact with them. You ready for some questions?
Yes.
Let's start off with a call. They have John on the line. Hello, John.
Hello, Father Mitch.
Hey, where are you from?
Ohio.
Ohio. Great. You've called before. And what is your question?
Nice to be recognized. Thank you. This is for you. I thought it would really be good if we could find out from you what you might have as inspirations for what lay people can, in general, pray for priests. Not just the dramatic stuff, but maybe the everyday stuff. And I'll hang up.
All right. Well, put me on the spot. They're supposed to be doing all that. One of the things that certainly is one of the, at least that I feel, a burden, is when I'm trying to deal with various families who are going through crises. And some of the crises are, of course, involve children as well as husbands and wives. Sometimes sickness, sometimes divorce. And to pray for us to have wisdom as to what to say in those circumstances. Because, a lot of times people are floundering. Sometimes the situation is caught by various forms of, selfishness and ego and all kinds of things. And sometimes you have no idea, is it his fault, her fault, their fault? What's all those questions. And to pray for us to have wisdom in learning how to deal with family situations. That would be a very good thing. Second thing would be to pray for us so that we are listening to Jesus as to what we should say in our homilies. One of the things I like to pray is, Lord, what do you want me to say to your people? The sermon is not about, my ideas, and my theology and like that. That's unimportant. What does our Lord want us to say? And to pray for us priests so that we listen to what Jesus is asking us to speak to the people. So we can address them with his word. Those would be two of the things that come to mind right away. Let's go to a question from our studio audience. Ma'am, where are you from?
Hi, I'm from New Jersey.
Great.
And I have a question for James. First, I want to say welcome home and thank you for your service. And my question is, how did you keep with this organization and help organize the events that you're doing while you were deployed? That must have been a lot of work for you to do both.
Well, thanks for the question. That's what's wonderful about the websites, is that you just need an internet connection. You just need the internet. So if you're able to get onto that, and we could shoot email back and forth. I know coordinating to come for the show, and then write Bernie back and Marion and everyone. I know they'd write me an email, and then I wouldn't write them back for like 2 weeks, and then I get a couple more. But that's just kind of the the wonderful part about the website is that you can do that coordination through the internet and then be able to still stay in contact with everyone. So it's definitely a challenge, but to make it work, do what you got to do.
But see, that also opens up the possibility of helping as a volunteer, even if you are homebound because of age or sickness or something like that. If you can do it during a deployment, the rest of us can do it, as we deal with our own schedules. That's a very, encouraging kind of thing.
Yeah, truly.
Let's deal with another call. We have Joan on the line. Hello, Joan. Joan, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, hi, how are you? Where are you from?
Hi, Father Paquin. I'm from New York.
And what's your question?
My name is Joan. God bless you, Father Paquin, and hello to your guest. I was just wondering if you know priests out in the missions, and they don't know anybody that would invite them on to the secure website for priests, how would they go about getting on there if they don't know anyone that would invite them on? And also, I was just wondering, after the World Day of Prayer on June 15th, is there anything else coming up in the pipeline for priests of prayer?
So 2 questions.
That's a very excellent question. We haven't addressed that, to be honest. So I thank her for bringing that up, because we need to look at how we can put that fisherman's net out there in a broader way to attract and find out where these other priests are. So that's a very good point. The second question, in terms of next project, the Global Rosary Relay keeps our hands pretty full. We're trying to develop, as I said, the priest website. In the meantime, what we're trying to really develop is this Rosary for Priest card, which allows anybody who's participated in the Rosary Relay to receive this card as a commemorative item. And it's something that you can, if you have a group of 40 of you, for $10, it supports the ministry. It allows us to continue to, grow our website, get better resources, and then to continue attracting other volunteers.
Matter of fact, you have 2 cards. One is a Rosary card.
Correct.
Rosary Relay for Priest card. It's a little plastic card.
Correct.
And the other one is an I Am a Catholic. In the event of an accident or emergency, please contact a priest. Yes. That's a good card to have with you, because sometimes if you're in an accident, you can't say anything. So that'd be good. I saw one of these cards that said, I am a priest. In case of an accident, please call a bishop.
That's awesome.
Let's go over to our studio audience. Ma'am, where are you from?
From Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Great town. And what's your question?
Well, actually, I just wanted to give you a thank you, because I think this is really great. I mean, we support our military the way we do. Why would we not want to support our priests that are out there in battle as well? So I think it's a great thing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice comment.
Thank you.
It's a nice thing. Yeah, it's. Do you hear that kind of sentiment coming from other lay people?
Absolutely. It's almost like, wow, why didn't we think of this sooner? This ability, and it gives us an ability to give back. Everybody talks about giving back, and in a society where gratitude is kind of low in terms of awareness and ability to find opportunities to do it. I mean, there's lots of opportunities to do it, but how to? I think this one is really important, because you as priests, you're a separate juridical person. You are set aside and apart, on our behalf as our shepherds, and there's nothing like prayer. So our ability to provide that, bathe you in that prayer, is the most powerful thing we can do.
Do you have any other comments on that?
That's the same thing I've experienced with people, is when you share with them what you're doing, they are just so excited and want to know how they can participate and how they can help. And also sharing it with priests, it's difficult to get out of you guys what you want. When I try to talk to a priest and I'm like, what can I do for you? No, you can't do anything. I'm good. What can I do for you? I met a priest one time and I was like, Father, I want to talk to you for a minute. And he's like, okay. He goes in his office, he shuts the door and he's like, what do you need? What can I do for you? I'm like, no, it's what can I do for you? Like, I want to let you know that we are here for you and we're praying for you. There's a wonderful group of sisters in Miami that are so dear to my heart, kind of spiritually adopted me, the servants of the pierced hearts of Jesus and Mary. And they've taught me so much about that. And through their charism of ministering to priests and loving them and providing for them, that I've just grown from that to go out and kind of spread this mission around.
That's great. You know, one of the things that is a problem in the last few years is that a lot of Catholics who went through catechism, sometimes even less so in Catholic school, but sometimes if all they could do is go to catechism, I've run into a few who never even learned how to pray the Rosary. As a matter of fact, we were having this discussion with 2 Jesuit seminarians who, until they entered our novitiate, didn't know how to pray the Rosary. Matter of fact, one born and raised a Catholic did not know that there are mysteries of the Rosary, yet alone what they were. He didn't know how to say the Apostles' Creed or the Glory be to the Father. He knew the Hail Mary and the Our Father, but he didn't know the other prayers. And, you know, this is a phenomenon that has happened. People, oftentimes catechists, assume that your parents are teaching you that. And the parents assume the catechist is doing it, so nobody does it. Have you come across much of that?
Well, this is one of the things that on the website is the Rosary, how to pray the Rosary, the mysteries, and in fact, when we pray the Global Rosary, it's all 4 of the mysteries. So as you
all
go,
4 sets of mysteries.
all 4 sets of mysteries. So it'll begin in Los Angeles with the joyful, move to China with the sorrowful, you know, and then move on to, I believe it's Australia, and you know, glorious, and then luminous, and then it'll cycle through again. So again, we're bathing the entire world. But that resource is on the website, and you're absolutely right. I think when we have introduced the Rosary to groups or invited other people to be a part of it, it's just the sense of power, if you will, of community, and that the meditative quality, the calming quality, and the same way to enter into the mysteries, the Rosary really offers that in a way that no other prayers can.
Yes. You know, the Blessed Pope John Paul the Great had talked about how the saying of the Our Fathers, Hail Marys, and Glory Bees is the bones, the body of the Rosary, while meditating on the mysteries is the spirit of the Rosary. And that, you know, for the Rosary to be fully alive, it's important to do both. You know, to meditate on the mysteries while you say the Hail Marys. And this is a great way of praying. One of my viewers recently reminded me how much the Blessed Mother had asked people at Fatima to pray the Rosary. And that this is one of the things that you're hearing the call to do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely about how the time that you're spending with those prayers, instead of just rattling them off. I mean, anyone can go there and then just recite some words over and over again, but it's what did you do in your prayer today? You know, people talk about that. They're like, well, I went to the gym. That's sweet, dude, but what did you do in the gym? You know, like, I prayed today. Awesome, man. Like, how did you pray today? Right. Like, you can make that. It's not about the length of time or how many words you say. It's the quality, you know? And that's what's important, is spending that little bit of time and focusing on the mysteries and seeing. That's what we're doing with the mysteries of the Rosary. We're seeing the life of Jesus through the eyes of his mother. I mean, no one knows their child like a mother, you know?
You know, one of the things that I certainly have found helpful over the years is praying a scriptural rosary. There's a little book called Scriptural Rosary, and it has a verse of the Bible for each Hail Mary, and it's related to the mystery.
Yes.
Now, one lady complained and said, well, it's hard to get through all of it, but one of the things is I never felt a compunction to say all of those verses every time I do it. If the Lord is giving graces as you meditate on one verse, it's a good idea to stay with that one verse for all the Hail Marys of that decade.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. There's no rule on that. There's no canon law.
Right.
It's there for you to help you enter into the mystery of the life of Christ and Our Lady as you pray the Rosary. And that's a very important thing.
Well, and actually, on the website, tied to each mystery that's connected to where the country's place is on the rotation, there is, if you will, little additional prayers that allow you to enter deeper into praying for our priests with some of the different issues and some of the different petitions. So those helpful things are included in there. So the website really is very robust and will really help support in your Rosary being fuller. But it is interesting, aside from the meditative qualities, aside from the ability to enter into this peaceful place, if you offer your Rosary for someone, if you're sharing this with someone, the dimension is, it cannot be explained. You know, it goes away from being just about yourself and where you are in your presence to now tying it into someone else. And our ability to bring that to priests is a gift.
Yeah. You know, and I think what you're bringing out here is that not only is this oriented toward praying for priests, but this is something that will also help deepen the spiritual life of the lay people who are participating, so that there's going to be growth from that as well.
Well, we're all called to the priesthood,
Yeah.
but the priests, our priests, go many steps beyond, if you will. So again, it is truly our ability to be part of this body, you know, here spiritually and here on earth, doing our part to reach to heaven.
Yeah, you know, the Vatican Council is very good on this, that on one hand, as you say, all of us as Catholics share in the priesthood of baptism. And yet the ordained priesthood is not just an intensification of that. It's a priesthood of a different kind. And the Vatican Council talks about that. But one of the things that I like to use as an image to understand the relationship between the priesthood of baptism and the ordained priesthood is that the priesthood of baptism that belongs to every single Christian is like sunshine. It's diffuse throughout the atmosphere. But I don't know, James, you might have been a better boy than I was growing up. But one of the little tricks I used to like to do was get a magnifying glass in the sunshine. And then you get the focus on a point, and then you set a piece of paper on fire. You know, bad boy. You know, I'm not recommending that, kids. But I did that. And that became an image that as the general priesthood of baptism is spread throughout the church, the priest is like the magnifying glass, and that light refracts through him to a specific point on the altar. And in that way, he gathers together that priesthood of the baptized through his ordained priesthood to that moment of the Eucharistic sacrifice. And this is a part of the mutuality. The priest needs the sunshine of the whole priesthood, but also the priesthood of baptism needs us priests to do Mass and the other sacraments. And there's a mutual relationship.
Yes.
Let's take another call. I have Thomas on the line. Hello, Thomas.
Hi, Father Mitch. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. Where are you from?
Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania.
Great. And what's your question?
I just want to make a comment about something that I experienced before Easter a couple of years ago. I had gone to confession. At the end of the confession, I asked the priest, I said, Father, I need some spiritual direction. Could you recommend one of the priests in the area? We have probably about 12 priests in this locale. And he says, oh, I'm sorry. He says, I don't think I can recommend anyone. He couldn't even recommend himself. So I think the priests themselves have realized that they have some limitations, and so I started to add the priests in my daily rosary, and I'm very pleased to hear about this program, and I think we do have to pray for our priests, and I think they're being dragged into too many directions away from the spiritual life.
Yeah. You know, there are a lot of pulls. Yeah.
Yes. And that's very true, and that's why we as lay, just as now we can hopefully alleviate some of the responsibilities that our pastors have with some of the other administrative needs that the church has, in the same way we can hopefully alleviate them by bathing them in prayer and giving them the spiritual fortification that they need.
Yeah, that's a very important element. And, you know, again, praying for us priests to grow in our spiritual life.
Yes.
You know, it's I get to talk to a variety of priests about different issues, and if a priest does not bring the struggles that are going on in the parish, the divorces, the people who are dying, you know, the need to be given the sacraments, and on all the different ways that we get pulled. If we priests don't bring that to our prayer life, we become hollow. It just empties us out. And, you know, that's something that we have to really be alert not to let happen.
Yes.
You know, one other element that I was going to ask about, if I forgot, what about praying for the souls of priests who have died? Is that part of this as well? Or do you just keep the focus on priests who are still alive?
I would say that you've just added that for me. Yeah. As far as I know, I would have to, knowing Marion probably, you know, our founder probably does, but I would say thank you for that, because it's something that we should. Yeah. The communion of saints.
I think she's in Ireland right now typing that up, watching this, going, oh, we got to add that for next year. Yeah, truly. That's definitely important.
You know, there's, you know, I'm by ritual in the Maronite rite. And in the 3 Sundays before Lent begins are dedicated to praying for the dead. One is an All Souls Day, one is an All Saints Day, and one is called the Sunday of the Priests. And the prayers bring out that priests have served their parishes and not had families. So we don't have children who will be having masses offered for us. And one of the concerns in the Maronite rite is that the priests might be forgotten and not prayed for because they don't have families that remember the anniversary of their death and so on. And so they set aside this Sunday to pray for the repose of the souls of priests. And this is a good thing, you know, to remember that because we priests don't have children who are praying for our souls, you know, when we do pass away, it would be very important to include us in your prayers because, you know, you see how long it takes some of the saints to get canonized. You know, those of us who are not saints, you know, are in trouble. You know, we'll need a lot of prayer to get out of purgatory, and that'll be a very important thing to add as a component.
No, that's very powerful. You're right. Marion's typing right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's it's a great ministry, and you know, just every so often, think of some of the priests that you knew growing up, you know, that passed away. You know, to remember them in your prayers is a good thing.
No, that's a beautiful dimension. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, this work is very good. You know, there is a revival of vocations in many seminaries all over the country. But these young men also need prayer. And after they're ordained, they'll need prayer. So this is a great ministry, and I, as a priest, want to speak for all my brother priests to thank you for doing this. This is a tremendous gift to us, and we hope that this continues to grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, you know, we're coming to the end of the show. We've run out of time. So I want to give you my priestly blessing. May Almighty God bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you. May he lead you in all of your ways and guide you by his peace. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. And you know, you see the kind of ministry that so many lay people are involved in praying for us priests. And we get to let you know about this so that you can join in. But we can do this only because you have already been joining in to make this apostolate possible. So we ask you to please keep us in between your gas bill, electric bill, and cable bill so we can keep this network running and pay our bills. Thank you.